And we're back for the final game here today. So these guys have won every single series that they've played in so far, which means that you can expect top quality plays from this final set. And we also have kind of two of the most interesting lineups brought here, so it's really cool to see them succeeding over everybody else.
Yeah, I really like both of these players and how they've played. Their lineups, pretty interesting. Always to see players kind of bringing their own flavor rather than just the best classes. And I think it can really show through. Now, Juked actually kind of just self-proclaimed, says he just brought these decks, made it yesterday, crafted Alec here, said, hey, somebody else did really well with Shaman, why can't I? And I'm really interested to see him play. He did really well in the semifinal match, and he actually has a pretty big background in card games, playing Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. So no stranger to these kind of scenarios. Top cut in a lot of events. VX we don't know as much about, but he's good friends with Razor, who plays a lot of Priest. He finished 45th Legend on NA last season with Priest, and claims his Druid and Hunter are just net decks, so he's actually pretty much a Priest main. And in this first game, he's actually going to start off with Hunter. And Juked again, leading out with the Shaman.
So, Shaman versus Hunter. In the mid-range match, I feel that Shaman has a small advantage just because of hexing high main is so potent. But if the Shaman gets low health, it's pretty hard for them to take it back because they don't have a lot of ways to heal themselves or anything, so then they just end up being defensive the whole game and never putting on pressure.
This is a really sick opener from the Hunter, though. I would tend to agree that against the more mid-range Hunter, the Shaman is a little advantage, but this curve from the Hunter is just insane.
Yeah.
I'd probably like to see him just trade in here. He could push 7 face damage, which is a lot, but yeah. It is a little weak to a few things. I'd like to see him just kind of try to get the trap out here. But he is just going to go for it. He could get Lightning Storm this turn, even with maybe an Earth Shock or a Rock Biter.
I think the Dark Iron on the Shredder.
I think I'd like to see the Storm this turn.
Yeah.
Goes for Earth Shock first.
Needs a good roll on the Storm, but it could end up clearing. But then I guess
it's just Rock Biter this turn with this play, yeah. The Storm play I think I liked because it pops your Shredder, which then threatens to pop the Freezing Trap. And there's a 50-50, it clears the entire board. Obviously, pretty important 50-50 at that. But this play works out pretty well, too. He threatens to Argus up the totem to proc the freezing. I would like to see VX just go ahead and trade into that totem and not get too greedy for the face damage. If he was watching last game, he would have noticed Juked does play 2 Defender of Argus and a Dark Iron Dwarf, so it's very likely he can activate his totems.
Yeah, I think once he gets the high main down, then he's not going to bother trading with totems and stuff anymore. But until that point, he's looking for maybe some kind of board control, or at least just to threaten the Shaman on the board to make the Shaman not do any damage to him.
Yeah, VX really not happy to see Juked was able to get through that Lothab. Lothab's one of those cards that usually you can count on getting that 5 damage through. But Dark Iron Dwarf, one of the stranger cards that just punishes you, and VX gonna kind of count up damage and think, okay, let's see, if I hear power from here on out, is that going to be too relevant? His opponent's at 17, which isn't that low. So yeah, I agree with the high main here. You just have to hope your opponent doesn't have that Hex off the bat.
Yeah, and it pays off really well for him now. You could use the Lightning Storm and the Flame Tongue to clear everything, which also gives you the ability to take the trap and play a totem, so.
Yeah, let's see. He's going to... I like this a lot. You can attack face, set up a totem to proc the freezing next turn, and save your 4/4. So
Yes.
plays very defensively. Also sets up a way to remove the freezing. And VX not happy to see the 1/1. Obviously, we know that with the Flame Tongue, really any totem would be fine to proc the freezing, but the 1/1, of course, doesn't require
kills
any
the totem now.
I believe so, yeah.
Gotta hit the totem with a weapon.
Could go face.
Yeah,
Like,
good.
it's like, do you care? Alright, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Shaman deck runs any healing. So, yep, the Searing Totem going to get frozen. And so the important thing is actually, for the Shaman, you're in a bit of a race scenario. And this Owl, this is actually, is this game? This is game. So, I don't disagree with Juke's plays. He did need to kill VX very quickly. He didn't have time. But at the same time, I really like the line that VX took this game by just going face. He went for the risk with the high main. It got slightly punished, but not as hard punished as it could have. And with double quick shot and the bow draw, it's going to be able to take this game.
Yeah, I think VX played that really well. Normally you need like an Unleash or something to close it out, that the Shaman will build up a board, and then that's often your punishing maneuver, but he just had a good strategy in mind. He knew when he needed to hit those points of face damage, and it worked out pretty perfect.
Yeah, really alternated well between trading for the totems when it was convenient, and then realized the break point of kind of, okay, let's hit face now. Like, this is it. You put your opponent on a clock with the hero power. If he's aware of Juke's list, he should know that there's no heal bot. It's a copy of Hawkeye's list, so unless he made his own kind of tweak to it and added some healing into it, really no way to stabilize and avoid the quick shots and the Hunter hero power.
So I will say that Priest normally has a very favorable match against Shaman. They just have a lot of plays that can pick off the Shaman's like important creatures.
Yeah, it is the kind of, I believe it's the Deathlord Light Bomb Priest, which I think is even more favored against the Shaman. Just has a lot of ways to control the board early. You end up having to kind of like hex Deathlords, and then you don't get their negative effect. That game can get really grindy, and I would say the Priest is favored. And also against Druid, I think Priest is favored.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Druid's one of Priest's better matchups. You really do want to have a pretty explosive opener. I have much more experience with the injured Blademaster Priest than I do the Deathlord version. And the Priest doesn't have a great opener. Neither does the Druid. And so I would say typically that favors the Priest. But the Druid is still curving out and did pick up a Wild Growth. So yeah, the Druid does have pretty good stuff going on.
In my experience playing Priest, I feel like I always die to combo so easily. You never really get a super safe board and then like one creature left over. Suddenly it's all over, which can be a really frustrating style.
Yeah, you definitely need to lock down the board pretty early. We do see 2 Holy Fires in VX's deck to try and stabilize. And
VX's hand is just awful for a Druid match right now too. Double Shadow Madness.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Juke also just going face, using the Wrath aggressively to remove Wild Growths, just kind of ramp. He has that combo, and like you just said, the combo is one of the ways where you just win. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts. When you're ahead on board, combo's always a threat. With Wild Growth, you're ahead on mana, and the Priest really just doesn't have a great way to deal with it. I think he has to coin out the Holy Fire this turn even.
Yeah. So, like, Juke doesn't have a lot of creatures. If he has dead draws for a turn or two, his combo won't maybe punish enough. Or, oh man, he would have had lethal.
Yeah, pretty crazy, but he's going to be very hesitant to play Keeper here because of Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah.
It's not something you're thrilled about, and he's thinking, I really want to set up lethal. And actually, okay, wait. Cabal Shadow Priest, he would have lethal with the Innervate combo for exactly 20. And so
Yeah.
Keeper could even bait his opponent into losing the game.
Because the priest does not expect to be comboed here. It's a really specific set of cards to have. I actually like what you just said there, how if he cabals, he's still exactly dead. But the BGH is kind of like the safer play if you weren't thinking about that, because it's not as necessary in a priest match.
This also saves the Keeper for the dual utility of using it as a silence, which works out extremely well on this Sledge Belcher. So basically everything going his way. Draws another Innervate and he's 1 mana off.
Like, that's good, but it's also not very good.
If he had 1 more mana, it'd be perfect, but obviously it doesn't really do anything this turn. The good thing is his opponent isn't really aware of what's happening. He's just thinking, okay, he obviously has some pieces of the combo, but
I think now he's aware. But
yeah, when you hear power, it's pretty obvious.
He can maybe deny this with Shadow Madness, and you can trade the Keeper into BGH, and then if the Shredder dropped like a 0 attack creature,
I think he's going to go for Holy Nova Shadowward Pain, and that would leave him dead to combo Innervate. You hope that the Shredder drops a 2 toughness minion.
Oh, well,
well, now you're dead to combo if you do that play. So, is there any other option though? You're dead to combo no matter what now.
Yeah.
You can clear off this board with something like Shadow Madness, Shadowward Pain. It's not as nice as it would have been if you just used Holy Nova. But
yeah, you hope he doesn't have it at this point. There's no way to be safe here, so you get
VX knows he has it is the thing. You know, he obviously has to make a play and just kind of hope, but VX has seen juked hero power constantly. He knows something's up. He knows those cards in his hand are situational. So unless it's double Innervate, Wild Growth, it's going to be it. So Juke's going to tie it up 1-1, get the Druid win out of the way. But still has, the Shaman deck to win with. Still has his Dragon Warlock deck to win with. And VX still has this Priest deck to win with.
Yeah, like, I don't think that was a huge loss for the Priest there. He had a pretty poor opening draw, and then it's also a match that you can just run into problems in it, where if you're not able to deal with the Druid stuff like right away, then it gets punished pretty hard.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't really draw the Death Lord kind of put him behind. It's one of the cards that lets you lock up the early game, not take nearly as much damage on your hero, and really get you to those Light Bomb turns, the Holy Fire turns. It's a very slow Priest stack that relies on the 8 health taunt to really even let you live until those later turns.
So, what do you think you picked now? I mean, alright, I shouldn't ask you. You don't care what he picks.
Oh man, you flip a coin. Heads, pick Priest. There you go.
Priest loses to Patron Warrior, right? So yeah, I think you do pick Priest, because if you know you lose to Patron Warrior, then you don't want to pick Druid and let him get by with the Shaman.
Well, it's going to be Druid out of VX and Shaman out of Juked. So again, we see Juked managed to get this pretty favorable matchup for the Shaman. It's really important that he avoided Shaman versus Priest, which is traditionally thought of as unfavored for the Shaman side.
Yeah.
Also, Juke's last deck is actually the Malagos Warlock, not a Warrior deck. The overlay was a little wrong, guys, so sorry about that. But it looks like VX maybe kept an Acidic Swamp Ooze. I think he did, and I'm not thrilled about that. We didn't see any weapons out of Juke's deck last match. I don't see any reason to assume. Maybe it's just, I guess he just kept it as a 3-2. That's pretty interesting. Really just wants to contest the board early. It will die immediately to Zombie Chow, though.
I think maybe you wanted to, it's more of like a control-y shaman, so you want to be able to kill some totems for free, just the creature to do that.
Yeah, he did end up drawing into that wild growth anyway, so doesn't get too punished for it.
This egg is going to kill something. Rockbiter double flame tongue totem.
That egg is going to murder something, yeah. Surprised he didn't just totem, though. He's taking like a more aggressive line, which is pretty interesting.
I think the one nice thing of this, like obviously he has 2 flame tongue totems, but you get to see if your opponent has a way to kill it. Because if he has, I get punished really hard, yeah, by Druid of the Claw.
Yeah, Druid of the Claw would absolutely destroy this play, basically just getting rid of the flame tongue for free.
Then he could still play Flame Tongue Rockbiter on the egg and kill the Druid of the Claw. And just like, because you saw him not do anything there, you might be confident he doesn't have anything. But now he has more cards, obviously.
Yeah, so probably going to pop this egg this turn. Sets up a really nice board to contest whatever the Druid wants to do on 6. Something like an Emperor, so...
That was, without a doubt, the best totem possible there.
Yep. Denies the Druid of the Claw play that we just talked about. Emperor, obviously one of those cards that if you're not in the best of positions can bring you back in the game. It does unfair things, but I'd actually like to see him maybe Flame Tongue or Dark Iron Dwarf this turn.
Yeah, if he could have used that on the Taunt totem.
Yeah, he could have created a 6/4, a 6/4, and 2/2/3 Flame Tongue totems. That would give him an immensely powerful board. But again, we've seen these plays from Juked that they're more slow, not as tempo based. He's just willing to hold on to these cards, save them for what he considers the perfect moment.
He does have that BGH to maybe do a Dark Iron BGH combo.
Yeah, I just feel like you probably wouldn't need that. I guess that play would actually be weak to Force of Nature Savage Roar, since if those 2 cards got reduced by Emperor, they would be playable on turn 7. He'd be able to clear out both of the 6/4s and a Flame Tongue totem, leaving him with just a 0/3. But yeah, I gotta think this play was actually a little weaker now that his board's basically contested.
I guess he just plays the egg here. He has the other Flame Tongue, so I guess he figures the Flame Tongue will die, but I don't even care about it anymore.
Ooh, he's even just gonna not use the other Flame Tongue. Again, just very patient, and that's game. That's 30 damage.
You saw VX throw his hands in the air saying, yes, that's so perfect here.
What?
And Juked, of course, is, I mean, you just got to take that one on the chin. There's nothing you could have done about that, but, like, you don't play around the Innervate double combo from 30 HP. Man. Well, VX really happy about that one, wiping his forehead, saying, "Oh, that was a tough match."
I'm just looking at Juked. The look of disappointment is huge.
Oh man,
this is you're probably his first real Hearthstone, kind of breakout qualification potentially, and
yeah, like
a really important game to win.
Surely you've had that happen on ladder or something, but you'd never play around that. Like you're not gonna think like I should not take this risk and taunt at 30 HP. So it feels really cheesy when you die to that. Just like no player would bother to.
Yeah, you don't play around. The Emperor reducing 2 Savage Roars into Innervate on turn 8. Ah, I always play around that.
Oh man. So if he wins with Shaman versus Priest, which is possible, then I think he is actually in a position to take the series.
Yeah, but the hand from the Priest is
really
good.
Oh my god. VX just getting exactly what he needs right now.
Oh wow.
These the Priest is doubly punishing to the Shaman, first because they have a lot of high health creatures, and Shaman has like specific damage point mechanics with like Flame Tongue Totem and their spells. So they don't have a lot of overkill to kill things like the Zombie Chow 5 health or the Deathlord with 8 is taking you maybe 3 cards to remove it. And then the Priest also has these great value plays like Shadow Madness in hand next turn, ready to steal the spiders from his Creeper, and it's just, there's not a lot you can do about it.
Yeah, when you draw both Zombie Chows into Deathlord with the Power Word Shield to stay on curve, like, you cannot ask for more. This is exactly what you need to lock down the board.
Is Shadow Madness on curve and like a Shadow Word Pain in the bank just in case things get out of control?
Yeah, he's just going to throw out Shadow Madness just as, like, tempo. Just to take some 1/1s. I guess Lightning Storm is, like, okay now.
That's a pretty good creature.
Lightning Storm plus Rockbiter could clear.
Yeah.
So, living on a prayer, no.
Probably got one more turn to draw it.
Yeah, the Priest doesn't pressure too hard, and he's going to go ahead and try to take back what board he can. He will go for the Mana Tide, though, just to draw into that Storm, hopefully.
I don't even think Storm saves him. Now he has health here, right? And the Priest is, well,
yeah.
Draw.
Okay, so, I mean, the Priest can't apply pressure that well. The Priest's hand is full of spells. He's going to Harrison just for a minion. I agree with that, of course. So, you're not dead yet. You do have time. But time's running out. Yeah, you're really behind.
Sludge Belcher's pretty good draw. You could consider just going face here. Leaving the spell power alive is a bit threatening. So yeah, I don't mind the trade, but he's like, he doesn't have a lot of cards, the Priest doesn't, so it is possible that you can get out-carded if things go wrong.
Yeah. The Azure Drakes are actually quite nice because it's just dodging the pain and the death. Whereas all the other options for the Shaman get dealt with instantly. Ooh, and with Cabal,
Yeah.
I mean, these are all situational cards for the Priest, but they're good situational cards, and eventually, as the Shaman, you have to play into them. You know, you can't not play your totems forever.
They're situational, but then he already has board control, so having situational cards is exactly what he wants.
Yeah, you can take as long as you need as the Priest, and with this Defender of Argus...
Oh, you lose that. No, there's really no way now that I could see him winning.
Juked is just being very optimistic. He knows that if he's going to win, this kind of stuff can't happen.
He even draws the second Cabal, just in case he didn't have one before.
He throws out a well-played, takes off his headset, and concedes. So
yeah.
A rough way to go out for Juked, but he does take home quite a few GEICO points. Definitely not really out of the running as far as that automatic qualification if he can do well in another qualifier. But VX14 is actually going to move on to the feature tournament. And with the Priest deck, going to try to secure a ticket to PAX Prime. And for you guys watching, this is completely open. There are no invites for this summer circuit. So you can compete in these open tournaments at liquidheart.com. There's a European Open one tomorrow. You can register right now. And also you can head over to geico.onog.gg, enter for your chance to win an iBuyPower official TSM PC. But for me in hot form, this is the end. We do have VX14 as our champion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you around for another one of these soon, hopefully.
See you next time.